All right. Good afternoon, guys. Happy Moon Day. So I did a reading on Michael Jackson, and that video is getting so many views. It is just ridiculous how many views this video is getting. I believe that I put this video up probably close to a month ago, upwards to a month ago, and it already has over 78,000 views on it. And there are a lot of people that have a lot of different views and opinions. There's some people that they seem to be a little confused, in my opinion, about when a person departs or, dies and what happens to them. Because there are some people, the way that they deal with death and the way they look at death is that it doesn't matter what's going on this world. When you leave, you go to heaven, especially if you believe it, and then everything is just peaceful and everything is calm and hunky-dory, and there's, marshmallows and rainbows, and that's actually not true. Part of the way, from what I can see from the research that I have done, is that the spirit does still deal with the circumstances around the death. So if you die very violently, then your spirit is still lingering and roaming and dealing with that death. You know, I don't know why people think that no matter what you're doing when you die, you're just, that's just it. And that's not true. So, for example, if you are an international icon and you die under suspicious circumstances, your spirit is not going to necessarily be at peace. Everybody thinks that the spirits are just going to be at peace, and that's not true. You can ask any medium, any practitioner of magic that works with the dead, that works with spirits. You can go to 200-year-old, grave sites, to a 200-year-old tombstone, and you can either, get the dirt around it or get the dirt above it. And, you can use that person's bad spirit. That's what a lot of practitioners do. So to say that you just, you're dead and you're peaceful, no, you just killed your body. Your spirit still is working that situation out. So, for example, when you look at Michael Jackson, at the time that we did that reading on Michael Jackson, which was mid-March, they were in fact abusing Michael's spirit. It happens all the time. There's a difference between saying, oh, well, he had some problems and, hopefully he'll rest in peace. There's a difference between that and somebody trying to steal from your family, steal from your legacy, and then also saying harsh, disgusting words. Okay, because I've been in contact with the dead for years, for many, many years, ever since I was a baby, before I could even comprehend it. And you don't just go and be somewhere at peace. You don't. I hate to break it to y'all. A lot of people say that if you don't do good here, that you come back and you're reincarnated, and that's some kind of punishment. I don't agree with that. I believe that reincarnation is inevitable. Everybody reincarnates. I don't believe that, I don't believe that. Now, it's funny how you can also be dead, but you can be reborn at the same time. So that other version, this is how we get gods and goddesses. This is how you can separate that. So, for example, with Michael Jackson, I believe that he ascended and there's things that he's been working out, but I also believe that he has certain things that he's doing in the afterlife. But then again, he was also reborn. I've said that several times, that he's been reborn through Janet, and that's why she ended up having a baby so old. Okay, and a lot of people was like, why she had that baby at that age? Because she had to. So you see that you see reincarnation come up, when somebody has a baby, or either they have back-to-back babies, that's somebody being reincarnated. And so a lot of people will be a little confused, and they'll say, well, what's going on? This, 15 or 16 or 18-year-old had a child, and then you wonder why that happens, but that happens because of reincarnation. Sometimes. Most of the time. Okay, because that spirit comes from the child. The spirit does not come necessarily from the parents. Okay, the spirit brings the parents together. This is how amazing your spirit is, that you can manipulate somebody to impregnate themselves with you. These are things that we don't remember, though, when we're reborn, but some people do. You know how, like, when you look in the eyes of a brand new baby and they just got that look like they an old soul? Okay. Death is kind of no different than life. A person can go to your grave site. A person can invoke your spirit. And so the same thing, and his spirit had been at peace for many, many years. But when that situation came up, his spirit it just came straight to me. And Nipsey Hussle's spirit did come to me. I just haven't done the reading. He didn't necessarily request a reading. You know, someone else did. But I noticed that I kind of had a little bit of a headache since he got shot, and he got shot in the head. So that was actually weird. So I've been picking up on his spirit for like the past week. Hey, Samantha, good afternoon. So when you die, you're not gone. In fact, Michael Jackson has really not left this planet. He's still at the Neverland Ranch. He's still there. Hey, Yaya, hello. He's still there, and he's still everywhere. He's still roaming. You know, rarely do spirits known like Michael Jackson. It's going to be a huge, you know, just have a very strong spirit to where they have to actually put a picture of that person up, and they have to light a white candle by it all the time because that person can haunt you. This is why people hold candle vigils. You know, death is very sacred. And I just don't believe in that. And, you know, Michael Jackson just so happens to be one of the richest or one of the most famous. And you know, whether or not it had something to do with racism as to why they did that, it was very deplorable. I know that Michael was just disgusted, and there were spirits around him. Yes, there were. In fact, a lot of those spirits, we chased them off. So your loved ones, yeah, they can be in hell because the same spirits that they came in with, they gonna leave with, and they will come and ask for your help. I know as soon as my grandma passed away, she came to me like a couple of days after her funeral and asked for my help. And she didn't even have to say nothing. I knew exactly what she was talking about. So they can communicate differently. They don't usually communicate with words. They communicate with thought. You know, sometimes their thoughts make up words. So this is where a medium or either some other kind of device is going to come in for you to hear those messages. Okay. Now, I don't use those electronical devices. I downloaded some Spirit Speak on my phone, and it let through a bunch. You can hear them. It let through a bunch of nasty spirits. Ooh, very angry spirits. It took me about a week to get them things out of here. So you don't just, you don't just die and just go to heaven unless that's what you did, unless that's what you wanted. But Michael Jackson was killed. He was murdered. Now, there are some people that say, no, Michael Jackson is alive. Well, he is alive. He's alive through his music. He's, but he was killed off. He was murdered. And he was given a very potent drug that killed him. He was not ready to leave. He wasn't. He just wanted to get some sleep. So he didn't want to die. So he was taken from this world so many years before he was supposed to. And whether or not he's dead or alive. Okay, I even told somebody that they left a message on my video. No, Michael Jackson is alive and he's still at the Neverland Ranch. Okay, he's still there. But people can and will abuse your spirit. I've had it happen. And it's not people, it's other spirits. And see, a lot of the times when those entertainers and artists are signing those contracts, that, you know, it's damn near in blood because they feel like they own you. I own your image. So I need for your image to be bad. I need to say about your image that you are a child molester so that I can make money. Because and you know, the documentary within itself flopped. However, they were after money. And people will abuse a person's spirit for money. And so Michael Jackson was abused his whole life for money. He was not allowed to go outside and play. He was not allowed to be a child. That is heartbreaking when a kid goes through that. And a lot of people would not understand it unless you grew up in that household. Another thing, people come and they say, oh, no, he loved his mother. So a lot of people get angry. And I never said that Michael Jackson didn't love his mother. I said that his inner child felt that his mother did not love him. That's what I said. And I'm going to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. From what I'm not going to hold back anything in my readings. I don't do that. Okay, so being upset with me and sending me snarky comments, that's not going to do anything. Abusing me is not gonna lift that veil of abuse that's over him. He was told to practice his routines. And from what we all know, his father, Joe, was an abusive Hollywood father. He was a stage father. He even told Janet, don't call me your dad, call me Joe. So, and yeah, his father did help shape who he was, but Michael Jackson would have preferred to have a normal life. He was just, you know, he loved music. He loved dance. I'm not saying that. But was it really necessary to take away his childhood the way that they did? Because they did that. And he said that often. And also the music that he was singing, what I can sense Spirit is saying to me is that it was kind of, he was surrounded by pedophiles himself. Some of the songs that he was singing, ABC 1, 2, 3, it has sort of a pedo undertone. When you listen to the early music, these were very young kids singing about love and singing about relationships. So a lot of people, even when they look back on Shirley Temple, it freaks them out. Because if you look at Shirley Temple, I mean, my God, and like, what was people thinking back then? When they had Shirley Temple literally in these adult situations with all of these men in every movie. So they were promoting pedophilia back then. And then they tried to use him. You see what I'm saying? So he didn't like being called a pedophile when he was alive, and he still doesn't like it in the spirit realm. And his spirit came back and fought. So you can't just say, oh, and a lot of people will do that very ignorantly. Like, you know, maybe the record label, you know, or maybe somebody decided, oh, I want to do this. And, you know, Oprah tried to say, this is not about Michael Jackson. And it's like, what? But you put his name in your title to get attention. And that's not right. So it was totally wrong what they did to him. I am too, yeah. I am too spiritually connected with Michael Jackson. And I can tell you that those accusations were just accusations. The people that were coming after Mike, they were money hungry. They wanted money. That's it. That's just all it is to it. And they don't care what they have to say to get it. They will say anything. And lo and behold, they didn't realize that so many people would come through for Mike. He came through. If you go and look up, there are tons of Michael Jackson readings from spiritualists on YouTube around that same time. And all of them, most of them have said the same thing. And we don't have any reason to lie. You know what I'm saying? Did you meet him personally? Oh my God. I bet you that was an experience. I never got to go to a Michael Jackson concert. In fact, they said I was too young when they went. I was like, I want to go see Michael Jackson. And I didn't get to go. The only concert that I have ever been to is R. Kelly Bump and Grind. He came to Kansas City. I think I was probably like 15, 16 years old. So, you know, that is the only concert that I've ever been to, ever in my life. That's so weird, isn't it? Because I love music. It was okay. Concerts are very loud and it's a bunch of people screaming and hollering, and I'd rather go to like a theater and see somebody sing and perform. You know, I'd rather see that than all that loud racket. I'm not really into nightclubs either. You know what I'm saying? Because of who I am, you know. It was a private meeting. Oh, I bet you that was nice. So, you know, and so you got to understand that people are still here. They can still hear you. You know, these people that you think up, it's been about 10 years since he passed on. Well, let's go ahead and launch our campaign against him because, you know, we're out of money and we need money. And so, and his spirit came through, and a lot of people have a problem with that. And they want to say, you know, I've had people come to my video and say, oh, you're a fraud, you're a fake. Oh, what are you trying to say? Michael Jackson is in hell? No, he's not in hell. But he was going through hell at that time. And like I said, I believe that Mike was an incarnated angel, and somebody told me that angels cannot exist in human form. And you are sadly mistaken, because there are a lot of angels out here that are in human form. They're called incarnated angels. And they're very empathic. Okay? They're very empathic. You hate money. You just have a bad, you just know. See, the reason why you hate money is because you have a negative relationship with money. That's the reason why you hate money. But other than that, you shouldn't be hating money. Hey guys, I don't answer private. So if you call my phone and I don't answer private calls. You got to call with your number for me to pick up. Well, it's people that do good things with money too. There's people that just want to eat, have a nice place, and do whatever they got to do. So money is not the problem. The problem is people. Just like guns don't kill people, people kill people, or spirits kill people. So it just depends on what your relationship is with money. Yeah. This was the last time he appeared there. This is when Anna Nicole Smith came back from losing weight. This was the company I worked for, etc. Oh, okay. The last time he appeared, okay. Michael Jackson was so amazing. Every time I see a video of him and he dancing, even though he, you know, even though he had changed a lot of his face, like, you don't even trip off of that. You don't even worry about that, you know? So I accept Michael Jackson in whatever form he comes in. I accept him, you know, because he is a very beautiful person. And he was also doing some big things at the time of his death. I think that he could have been more protected by witches. I think that that was the only thing that he may have lacked. is that he didn't have the proper protection, because part of the reason why he couldn't sleep was because of them psychic attacks. And he was also an empath, walking and talking and breathing. So that's part of the reason why he couldn't sleep, because he could just hear all that chatter. And he was a Virgo. So Virgos are very exceptional people. They're different. You know, all earth signs, they're connected with Earth's resonance, Earth's frequency. And, you know, he didn't really know what to do with it, you know. And then with him being, except when he was around his children, he would act like a father. But with him going back and forth between being a child and being an adult, it was kind of confusion, because he could switch back and forth between that little boy that wanted to be a child and Michael Jackson, you know, the entertainer, you know, and he was just amazing. He was, you know, and he felt like he was a puppet, and he didn't like feeling that way, which is why they often depicted him, you know, as a puppet. And he didn't like that either, because he was his own individual person. And if you didn't know him, then you didn't know him. The only thing that you knew about him was what you heard about him. So when you truly don't know a person and somebody says something to you about them, and, you know, so I didn't quite get it until the whole Michael Jackson thing came back up. So it ended up being a blessing, and his spirit is at peace right now. It was not during that time, because his legacy was being affected, which meant that his music was being banned in places, or they were trying to ban his music, or trying to mute Michael Jackson. How you gonna mute Michael Jackson? I mean, that was just ridiculous what they were doing, because we need his music. You know, we do. We still do. And, you know, so what it more than likely did was it resulted in a lot of sales of his music as well, but it was really in a very negative way. You know, they didn't have to point him in a negative light. Why didn't they do an honor for him at the Grammys? Why didn't they do that? Because this person that lied on him, that admitted to lying, came back and said, so, you know, it was kind of weird. And that's why a lot of folks was mad about Cardi B winning that Grammy, but then they threw Michael under the bus. Because, you know, whenever somebody passes on, whenever it's a legend, like Mike, okay, he was a legend. And you know how normally I don't watch the award shows anymore at all. I don't watch the BET Awards, but you know how they'll do the thing where they will honor them, you know, in some kind of way. And I'm wondering if they've even done that. But I guess that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, guys. I don't know why my allergies are messing with me today. Right, because I ain't took my medicine at all since yesterday. So when it comes to death, please understand that they are right there with you. You know, so this people knowing that fact, maybe they wouldn't be so quick to murder people. Maybe they wouldn't be so quick to mistreat people. If you only knew that your spirit gets stronger in death. It does. You know, this is why there are some people that will, you know, and I've talked about this, that guy, Ricardo Lopez, he's dead, but he's not dead. He's still out here. You know, and then a lot of these people that are on YouTube that die. You know how many YouTubers die? Greetings, Blue Rain 33. Have y'all seen when these YouTubers die? They haunt YouTube. They haunt people. You don't have to be afraid. Technically, a spirit can't necessarily hurt you, but they can make you hurt yourself. But depending on what the spirit is, sometimes it can. Especially if it's like an incarnated angel or something, or somebody that has like some kind of hierarchy. And Michael Jackson definitely did have that. So, you just got to get in touch with the spirits and understand how it works. And people that do stuff like that, like what they did just to get money off of his estate, because I think that the guy that told all those lies about Michael Jackson, he tried to sue previously and the judge threw it out. So he's been trying to get money or a job or have some kind of connection with him for years. He's been stalking that man's grave. He's been stalking Mike's grave. I don't even know where Mike is buried, but I can imagine that if you go to a deceased person's grave that's very rich, you can dig up some of that dirt and maybe manifest you some money. But I mean, I guess you could do that. I would caution against it unless you have that person's express permission. For example, Mike has given me permission to monetize that reading that I did on him. He gave me his permission. I still haven't done it because I did that out of the kindness of my heart. And I was suffering. I was suffering with him, because I'm a medium. And sometimes those spirits will come to you and you can't do nothing but give their messages. There are times when the spirits will just get me up and say, you have got to go and speak this message. Hey, smarty girl, hello. He did do good things for a lot of people. He did things that didn't even have anything to do with his money. He did a lot for me just with his music, and it is very sad, but it's not sad when you think about it because Mike came through. He did. He came through. And he spoke his piece. He said his piece, And I think that when people, I don't think it's meant for people to stop talking about him, but not in that way. That's, oh God. Let me tell you something. I felt sick to my stomach that whole week. I felt so sick to my stomach. It just used to make his stomach tie up in knots when people would say that about him. It really, really hurt him to his core because he would never hurt a child. He just wouldn't do it. Yeah, he was definitely troubled, but he didn't have an interest of sex. He didn't with kids. No, he didn't. Everybody's brain don't function that way. People that do have that perversion, they don't really have an understanding, and especially if you were molested as a child and then you end up being a child molester, then that means that spirit got in you and you couldn't get it out of you, or it may have shaped and molded who you were. And then it depends on the level of sexual abuse that you suffered. Sexual abuse victims are so special, it's not even funny. And I don't think that psychiatry is actually equipped to deal with it, because we all, psychiatry is really not equipped to deal with that. Because you would ask yourself, why would anybody hurt a child like that? That's horrible. For example, there's a reading that I wanted to do on this lesbian couple in California that drove themselves and their 6 adopted children off of a cliff. Thelma and Louise style. Because they, and it was, I'm not going to go into detail about that, but I've been catching some whispers from that oldest boy named Devontae. So if you know what case I'm talking about, And so I'll probably end up doing a reading on that because so many people are still wondering what happened with that and why did they do it and what happened. The fact that they drove off the cliff, they didn't brake, they accelerated so they could tell that it was done intentionally. Yeah, very sad story. I'm just now learning about it. It happened a year ago. Yeah, yeah, it was horrible. And I couldn't even imagine the last moments of my life being that. But, people that are suicidal, that, like that, and they can't find no way out. But I think it was very selfish that they took them kids with them. Because if you're going to kill yourself, kill yourself. Don't kill all them babies with you. That was horrible. And those children, they still haunt us to this day because there's still people talking about it. They still have not found the bodies of some of those people because it was probably, probably animals that came and got them or something, or, so there's missing children and they've been missing for a year and they came up. So more than likely they are dead. They're deceased. They're gone. But, you think it was foul play? I think them people drove themselves off that cliff because they were all in the news. It was made public, but they were abusing them kids. They were not feeding them and they were beating them kids. And the kids ran to the neighbors and said, please don't make me go back home. So they were actually abusing them kids, and they actually drove themselves off of that cliff because they knew that CPS was on their way back to take them kids from them. So that's why they did it, because they were not well in the head. So I can already tell you that. They definitely did it. They definitely did it purposely. But as far as the details, I haven't really looked into that. Yeah. So a lot of people that, especially people that want to get away with murder, who do you think takes you to justice? Your victim. Your victim is who brings you to justice most of the time. I haven't investigated a lot of these murders. I haven't investigated the murder of Tupac. I haven't investigated Biggie Smalls. I haven't investigated a lot of people's deaths. There's a lot of unanswered questions, though. We know she was starving them. Yep. And the police, she would not feed them as punishment. And you can't do that. You can't not feed kids as punishment. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no. Sorry, you can't do that. You can't feed your kids. Why do people do that? People be like, give the cheap hot dogs to the kids. If I'm gonna make hot dogs, like some chili dogs or something for my family, I buy the good stuff. I get those good beef hot dogs or the good beef Polish sausages. I feed my kids the best. I would never go and say, oh, well, we're going to get this cheap stuff for the kids. But I've seen people do that. It's like, wow. So you wonder why so many people got gut issues and eating disorders these days. Because people will be like, give the kids the cheap hot dogs. No, they like the good hot dogs too. Or they like the good food too, not just hot dogs, but that's just an example. Kids want to eat steak too. They don't want to eat no, now kids do like corn dogs, I will tell you that. But you know what I'm saying? I've actually heard adults say stuff like that. It's like, no, my kids eat the best. But that's just how some people think of kids. There are some people that are adults and they grew up around a bunch of people that hated children, and then they end up hating children too, Yes, thank you to the God and the goddess. Yes. They will come over looking for food, and you got to be hungry if you go to your neighbor's house looking for food. Hey, Dovey Milton, hello. I can't think of their names for some reason in all of the reports that I read. You have to look up lesbian couple kills 6 children, and you'll be able to find the news on it. They actually drugged them before they they actually just did the top. I guess the some more reports came out a couple of days ago, and it says that they drugged them first. So well, that was, at least they drugged them, and they didn't really know what was happening to them. I can't even imagine that is, and I can do a reading on it because I can tell you where that lady's head was. I think I am going to do a reading on these people, because that was a tragedy, and people were talking about it. It happened a year ago. I didn't even hear about it when it first happened. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is why he loves children, because they were free and honest. Exactly. You know, children typically, unless they are being persuaded by their parents, are inherently good. You know, there have been cases of children that have been evil, but, you know, mostly children can be good. But I think, especially when children go to school, the reason why a lot of the bullying happens is because a lot of the children, they either don't want to be there or they don't want to be at home with their parents. So sometimes and you know, children that, you know, my children got bullied. My children were not the bullies in school, but they actually got bullied because my children were not being bullied at home. And so a lot of people, you know, the way that they raise their kids behind closed doors is just, is sad indeed. Now, if you're disciplining your child and your child is doing something that you know is not good for them or unhealthy, then you do have to say to your child, hey, listen, you know, you can't do that. You got to talk to them. You got to discipline them. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in beating the crap out of no kid. No, I don't. I don't believe in that, you know? And a lot of people have told me that I'm too soft on my kids, but you know, my older ones turned out pretty good. So evidently I must have did something right, because, you know, in my opinion, you know, I'm very proud of my children and just who they are as people. So I need you to help prove this is 100% real through your platform, because you know how to represent it. I'm writing Steve now. Okay, you said that proves Nipsey Hussle was Jesus sacrifice 888. I will look that up. I will do a reading on him. Right now, it's too soon. For me, it is. But, you know, anybody else that wants to do a reading, feel free. You know what I'm saying? Feel free. Because, you know what I'm saying? It just, and then, you know, I've got court cases and stuff, and clients and stuff that I'm dealing with. So a lot of the times, you know, I have to deal with that. In fact, I need to get a 60-minute video reading done today. But I typically don't start doing my readings until the evening. I don't like doing readings during the day. In fact, I don't think anybody should be doing readings during the day. Because I think that, you know, I will do the general readings for the channel, but typically it's in the evening when the sun has went down, because when that sun goes down, it gets so quiet and so peaceful. I love nighttime a lot, you know. But see, Nipsey was very self-sacrificing, though. You know, most people that went to the places where he went in life wouldn't even be in that neighborhood at that point. The fact that he was still in that area, and from what I could gather, was that he was possibly still gangbanging or something. I'm not real sure, because I haven't looked into it yet. I'm just, you know, going by, and before I do a reading on somebody, I typically will not look at other readings that people have done, but you know, or I won't look at the news and stuff because sometimes that can, you know, persuade too much. But a lot of times what you hear about in the news is just speculation. Mm-hmm. So he did seem like a very self-sacrificing person, which, you know, Jesus was self-sacrificing, you know. His son's name is Cross. Well, I will definitely pin cushion it and do a reading on him since I've gotten, this is probably like the fifth time somebody has requested, and there's a lot of people that are leaving requests on that Michael Jackson video, but there's so many comments on that video, y'all, that I can't really go back to a lot of those requests because there's a lot of people that have requests on that reading, and it's just too many comments. There's over there's over 1,000 comments. There's almost 2,000 comments on the video. So yeah, when it comes to death, please don't think that folks is just dead and they just gone forever. And see, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you can't communicate with the dead. That's wrong. The Bible says that it's wrong. But they communicate with us, with mediums. It's not our mind doing it. It's they are communicating with us. Do I think I can do a reading on Kanika Jenkins? That case gives me chills. I still haven't done a reading on Kanika Jenkins. It's just too messy. It's been a couple, like maybe a year or so, and I still haven't done a reading on Kanika Jenkins. And part of the reason why is because, you know, it was way too much going on at that time that she passed on. And I was actually spooked by that reading. Not that reading, but by her death. I was actually very spooked by it. It was very haunting seeing her roam the hallways of that hotel, stumbling around. It just, oh my God. And then the whole video that came out with that satanic, not even satanic, it just sounded sick with that kind of Mickey Mouse voice. Ooh, it sent chills down my spine. It really did. Jennifer Hart. That was her name. I didn't know that so Kanika Jenkins isn't her real name. Okay, Sag 30. I will do that. I will do that. It made me feel sick. It did. It literally was just sickening, and just the whole thing with the guy in the background, it was triggering. It even triggered me. And so I said, I'm just going to stay away from that. You know, I did. That's why I didn't do it. It was way too triggering. You know, the whole video with her, you know, you could hear her saying, help me in the background. Oh my God. It just, I believe, I lit candles for Kanika. I talked about her a lot though. And I did like vigil candles for her because she was definitely haunting everybody. I sent spirits and photos now and find them. I just did an EVP on Candy Star Pendulum reading on Nipsey. I do it the old way and sense the energy in the recording. Yeah. I'd like to get one of those things that can hear things that the average ear can't hear, just so that you can hear it. I think those are very interesting. Okay. Wait a minute. What is Smarty Girl saying? Oh, Jennifer Hart was the lady's name. Okay. And you know what? It's crazy that their last name was Hart too. You would think that just yeah. So I am going to review that case. I am, and I'm glad that it's been a year since it happened. But I would have did it a year ago if I would have known about it. I just didn't know about it. Yeah. I watch Huff Paranormal. I think his videos are very interesting. I had resubscribed to him because I had unsubbed once because I was feeling all sensitive and stuff. And he had uploaded a video where he had contacted a demon and it was tormenting him. And I just couldn't deal with it at that time. I couldn't deal with it when he was saying that. So, but I had resubbed to him again recently. I had resubbed. So, yeah. They did. And she actually got convicted of domestic abuse. She had actually got convicted of it because those kids were going to school and they were telling what was going on with them. So no, you're not disrupting. You're fine. You're fine. It's cool. You know, I work with people that have issues. They may not have issues with like abusing children and stuff like that, but I work with people that have issues like that or just issues, period. And a lot of times it can be angry spirits, it can be demons, it can be parasites. Parasites is one of the biggest problems with a lot of people, is, you know, as to why people are just zombies these days, you know. And those, you know, parasites are generally not naked or not seen to the naked eye. So these are, you know, parasites, in my opinion, are spiritual. You know, you said bad stuff happens in California. I can believe it. I can believe it. I actually used to watch the sky over California. It was quite interesting, some of the stuff that I would see coming down in California. Yeah, they are. So if you guys ever want to contact, you know, the dead or a dead loved one, I can definitely contact them. Um, but sometimes you can't reach them. So when you can reach them, that's a blessing. You know, sometimes you can't reach them, and it'll be more so a spirit guide, you know. And I have this weird thought process when it comes to reincarnation and when it comes to past lives. You know, this is why a lot of people can feel very close to a great grandmother or father that died years ago, but they feel that connection with them because sometimes you are them. You know, I'm telling you, I have seen people that are under possession, and you know, I think it's okay. I don't think it's anything wrong with possession. I don't, because on some level we're all under some kind of possession anyway. So when it comes to that, you know, for example, I pick up on a very old ancestor that is like, that's my grandmother, great grandmother. You know, I walk in her spirit a lot. You know, in particular, when, you know, when I surrendered to witchcraft was when she came about, because she was a witch, you know, 3 or 4 generations ago. And sometimes it can be hard to find your family members like that, but you can only contact them in spirit. Yeah, rest in peace, Kanika. Yeah, she wants justice so bad and always says her best friend killed her, and we know who that is. She has zero care about Kanika and mad disrespect, especially at her grave. Oh my God. I'm surprised them people ain't all dead or something because I just saw bad stuff coming to those people. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I saw bad stuff happening to every last one of those people that were there, that were present, that know about it. And her spirit is very strong. Whenever you see somebody like that that makes the news and stuff and everybody's talking about them, that's called a goddess. So, she's whenever it's because that I think that her case, people was praying for her over in other countries. I believe something is happening to me. I'm either coming into spiritual gifts or I have completely lost my stinking mind. Well, hey, it's good to lose your mind, girl. Lose it. Just it's when people lose it and they do bad stuff. But as long as you got your protection up and you talk to your spirits and you talk to your ancestors, you'll be fine. You know, and if you are somebody that does have contact with the dead, you can't just keep ignoring them because they're here and they're communicating with you. So a lot of those weird experiences that you may have, it could be a spirit. You just have to ask somebody that knows what they're talking about. I didn't think so, smarty girl. He's talking about, you said Monifa has a demon attached that is dragging her down. Oh, really? Really? I'd like to see that. Somebody's gonna end up talking about that case though. But see, when you swore to secrecy, and then somebody was saying that it was some kind of gang initiation, and that just makes it even worse. What's her name? Monifa. Yeah, I haven't read any of these people. Yeah, she definitely sounds guilty because she was thinking about committing suicide. Yeah. Wow. Uh, Seems like it's definitely time to do a reading on that situation. Uh-huh. It's not scary at all. I swear to you. I don't know, maybe because I'm used to it. I mean, it does get scary sometimes, but there's certain things that I do for protection, and then and then if you're a psychic medium, you better kind of take it easy on the marijuana. Yeah, when you already got them spiritual gifts, and you put that substance in your body, boy, everything opens up. And yeah, the unknown can be very scary. It can be, but it's not. You shouldn't be seeing things that you don't want to see. I think if you're seeing things that you don't want to see, then you probably need to talk to a psychic medium that can tell you what that, because sometimes a lot of y'all have been trained, or either there's other frequencies that are interrupting the transmission. So it's actually a blessing when a spirit communicates with you. But people have been taught for so long to fear the spirit realm And when you have been taught that whenever you do get in contact with the spirit realm, it creates an instant cognitive dissonance. Okay. And for me, sometimes I go through that as well. Not the other night, though, when I had that spiritual attack. That was something else. You know. Yeah, you can definitely communicate with spirits in your dreams. Definitely. But you can also communicate with them when you're awake. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I guess if that was the case, then we're all evil because we're all spirits. Smarty girl. You know, then I guess that means everybody's evil because we all have spirit. So I think the Bible gives us clues as to what they're doing to us. But when they tell you to not contact the spirit realm, nah, because I'm about to order me a Ouija board. I've got to have me a witch board. In fact, I think I'm going to order one from my supplier since I haven't ordered from them in a while. And I'll do some Ouija board sessions as well because I'm not afraid of it. I'm really not. Never have been. Now, them psychic attacks, boy, when they hit you like that, and so especially if you fast, and that's why I eat. I eat. I eat during the day. I eat at night because if you're fasting, you're more susceptible to psychic attacks if you're fasting. If you're already a psychic medium, you do not need to fast. If you're already a psychic medium, why would you need to do that? In fact, if you're a psychic medium, you need to eat potatoes. You heard me? You need to eat. You can't just sit up there and not be eating nothing. You better get you some chicken noodle soup or something to eat. And if you feel like you want to fast, do it for whatever reason. But there's a lot of people that, you know, they claim that diet has to do with your spiritual gifts. Not for everybody. Some of us, if we don't eat red meat for our spiritual gifts and make those offerings to our ancestors, boy, we'd be toe up from the flow up, sick, dying, half dead. You know, you just can't do stuff. You can't overdo stuff like, you know, instead of eating 5 cheeseburgers, just eat 1. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you doing? You know, so yeah, because a lot of people say, well, you know, I've thought about changing my diet. When people say that they changed their diet and that they started having anxiety and stuff and they started feeling bad and stuff, then you may be malnourished. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Hey, Aquarian. Thank you for subbing. So yeah, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with people doing spiritual work on an empty stomach. I don't agree with folks fasting and doing all that stuff. You need energy to invoke energy. You need energy. You can't, you know, so I don't agree with that. I would never teach my students that. Never. Eat you some steak and some potatoes. Mm-hmm. Queen Latifah Oracle, that's cute. Yeah, I don't believe in that. No. Now, if you're in a bad way and you're dealing with some particularly bad spirits, hey, Zelda, cut that out. Stop it, Zelda. You know you ain't right. That is a bad doggy, I'm telling you. Yeah, the government, you know, they do, but let me tell y'all something. There is a frequency interrupter that you can use, and they do work. So, you know, they do emit certain frequencies to us through the towers and stuff. And saging and using your frequencies in meditation is definitely going to be your biggest defense against any, you know, global mind control. Hold on a minute, guys. All right, y'all. I'm sorry about that. I had to get on my dog because she is so freaking, God, that dog is so freaking destructive. All right. See you later. Thank you for coming, guys. So the ideas that a lot of people have, they're just not real. They're just not real. You know, that's more so wishful thinking. Oh, well, we're going to put all these spirit. I don't believe in putting bodies in the ground either. I don't believe in that. I think that's a huge mistake that they're making. But people bury the dead in different ways. You know, people bury the dead in different ways because, you know, your loved ones, you love them and you want to preserve them. So that's what embalming is. Embalming preserves the body for the viewing. And then sometimes they'll dig up a dead body that's been down there for years and years, and that body will still be preserved. That body will still be preserved. But yeah, as far as that is concerned, just make sure that you're not like an organ donor and stuff like that. And when people got hip to that, they started stealing organs. So that's when you got to make sure that you got your spiritual guns up in your protection. When you walk in that protection all the time, then those horrible things will not be bestowed upon you. I'm getting cremated too. I want my ashes spread in the ocean. I don't want to be underground. No, thank you. I think that would freak me out. No. I know that the Egyptians, they mummified people, you know. So I think it's very interesting, though. I think that you would have to be somebody that has a background in that, and you know, understand all of the ins and outs, because morticians, they learn about all of that stuff. When you go to school to be a mortician, they learn about all of that stuff, you know. You're welcome, Takis. I'm on my new spiritual journey too, and it's just I told y'all I'm on the Grow from Love campaign, and I'm so happy that I made it to that place. You know, I'm so happy that I made it to that place because it is so peaceful. It is so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Guys, hit that thumbs up because people, you know, they'll come over here and people need to know this stuff. You need to know this stuff so that you can have now everybody is entitled to their own opinion. But I can tell you as a medium, those spirits are still lingering around, especially if they died in either a violent way or if they were taken too soon. You're going to have a spirit haunting you. Yeah. Oh, they did it to control the dead. Okay. I think that is so interesting. You know, in fact, when you look at the movies where they over there digging up them, you know, ancient Egyptian stuffs and stuff, you know, and that movie, The Mummy, I think is very interesting. But I think that they were not supposed to go and desecrate those people's graves, though. I just don't agree with that. I think when you find stuff like that, you need to leave it where it's at. Quit moving stuff into art museums and stuff. You know, I just don't agree with that. Leave it where it's at. Don't touch it. Do not touch that stuff. They've been over there touching that stuff for years. That lady that they found a mummy underground, and she was buried with her husband and all her treasures, and they just came and stole everything out. I said, how y'all just gone? And that's her stuff. We found all this buried treasure, but it had a body. It had two bodies connected to it. So a lot of people, they like it. So they go over there, they get all that millions or billions of dollars that they make from it. And then the next thing you know, they be haunted for the rest of their life. And they don't understand why. And that's why, because you're desecrating these people's grave sites, and you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. I know, smarty girl. I have truly been on one, and it's a good thing. I'm gonna stay on that too. I said I got to get my happy back. I got to get that good feeling back to where, you know, is it possible that putting it in a museum is somehow showing reverence? I don't know. I don't think that they should have touched it. I think that they could have taken pictures of it, but I just think it's somehow a mistake to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I just don't agree with it. If I were buried somewhere and I had all my stuff with me, I wouldn't want nobody to mess with my gravesite. But I don't care about, like, literally when you leave, you want to leave whatever you have to your children. A lot of people don't leave nothing, which is okay too, except for your spiritual energy, which is okay too. You know, and your ancestors, they do leave behind some stuff. They do. That I'll see it in the spirit. I will see it in your cards. I'll say, well, are you doing bad financial? People like, yeah, I'm doing real bad. And all these cards will come up, the Wheel of Fortune, the Emperor, the Empress, the Ten of Pentacles. I'll be like, how you doing bad? Because you're supposed to be doing good. That's because you haven't manifested it into the physical. So when you have spiritual money, and call it spirit money, you can manifest that into the physical whenever you need to or want to. You know? Yeah, Takis, I don't go to museums and stuff like that. I might decide to. I know they have a couple of museums here I think in Georgia, in Atlanta. I'd like to go. Don't they have a really big museum in New York? They got one of them real big museums in New York that I've always wanted to visit. But I would have my spiritual protection up when I went up in there. And I don't think I would touch anything. People be touching everything. So you can't be touching everything. And I don't believe in going in stores and touching everything before you buy something. You know, I don't know. I'm just weird like that. You know, is Kodak Black going to be killed? I try to spread the message not to kill him, but burn him by taking away all his fame and boycotting him. You are aware of this, right? He has stirred up a major shitstorm, and it's so much hate and anger he's provoked in an extremely wrong way. I heard about that because he's speaking ill on the dead. It's a spirit. It's in the kitchen over there by the cat for some reason. Yeah. Well, celebrities were sort of already preordained to be celebrities. It was kind of like fate for them to be in that position. You know what I'm saying? So it was almost like they can't help it. You know, they can't help it, smarty girl. That's just like if you were If you a butterfly, you gonna be a butterfly. No matter what. That's your job, is to be a butterfly, you know? You don't like him. I don't even know Kodak Black. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know Nipsey Hussle before. I didn't, because I don't really follow a lot of the new rappers and stuff. I don't. Even though their music is very interesting, it almost has like a shamanistic undertone to it. But it's so many negative frequencies in it. You know what I'm saying? That I'm very, very careful about who I listen to. Because I like the rapper Common, but he didn't really, do much because he was not a gangster rapper. So if you're a gangster rapper, you're going to make the most noise. But people like T.I., E40, Tupac, um, you know, Biggie Smalls. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm sure Cardi B has done much worse things than drugging men and robbing them. Just saying. It's not funny, but and so I don't even mess with Cardi B. I don't too much mess around with her, because she's got some very powerful spirits. So some of these people, I don't even mess with them. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? You want the truth to be out there, but you just don't mess with them. And I did read that Cardi B is not a bad person, but she used to be. She used to be. And sometimes when you do bad things in your past, it comes back to haunt you. But at least she admitted to some of the wrong things that she's done. Yeah, that's true. The whole thing about the blood sacrifice thing, eh, that it's all right. It's something much more deeper than that that's happening. But yeah, some of these record labels and companies and people in Hollywood, boy, they are very dirty. I will tell you that, very dirty. And sometimes their artists would be worth more dead than alive, they think. hmm I wish that I would have known Michael Jackson personally. I would have offered him a cleanse and a gin hex breaker is what he needed. But everything happens for a reason. Just remember that everything happens for a reason. You know, and it doesn't always have to end in a tragedy. People are always looking for a tragic end or some kind of downfall. Just like with me, people thought that if they were stalking me, harassing me, that they drive me crazy enough that it would be some kind of tragedy. And I'm sitting up here looking like, no, honey, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You always gotta be able to see that light at the end of the tunnel through that. And then that way those people are not able to control your mind and control what you do. Because sometimes folks can set you up. Oh, I think she's gonna do that. When we gonna do everything to try to make her do that. And it's like, I got protection. And so all about you, my whole family got protection. So that ain't gonna happen. I've never even listened to Kodak Black. I'm totally unfamiliar with his music. Some people believe that rap music died when Tupac died. You know, I'm kind of one of them people. You know, now they're trying to say that, you know, everybody in Hollywood is a transgender and, you know, Tupac was a trans and all that stuff. And I'm just like, you know, people and their ideas, and everybody has the right to have their own ideas. I would never tell somebody how to think, and that's not even what I'm doing right now. I'm just letting you know what I know about the spirit world and how spirits work. So Michael Jackson is not in hell, no. But at that time, you better believe that they still have his remains. They have his hair. They have his fingernails. They have his blood. They probably even have his skeleton, his bones. They have that stuff. And you can actually abuse and torture somebody's spirit just by going to their gravesite and digging up their dirt and using it for your own purpose. And that spirit will turn over in their grave. And so that's why he was saying they're on me, get them off of me, because they were on him. They were torturing him and they were abusing him just like they did when he was a child. Because they want money. That's just the end of it. That's just the way that it is. He's at peace now. It took him a while. He's still, honestly, but you know, he's at peace now. Right. It is. It is. And I can honestly say that I don't necessarily like Cardi B's music, but her new Clout Chasing song, I like that song. Her Clout Chasing song. I feel like her music has been a little empty until that song. So she probably gonna drop a couple of real hits beyond Bodak Yellow. And then she's also getting into acting. Like I said, I told y'all was gonna see Cardi B in the movies. So she's actually probably on set right now filming her first movie. I saw that for her a couple of years ago. So, and then even if Cardi B did something wrong, spirits believe that she paid off that debt, just like with Jussie Smollett. That's why you see mysterious things happening in the courtroom. You be thinking, how did that happen? That's because somebody put in some spiritual work. I'm telling y'all the truth. And so they had that. The prosecutor is actually under fire. They've been talking about her on CNN. A lot. I've been seeing it on my stories to read on my phone about that lady. Hold on, let me see if I can find her. Oh, I had to just Google it. So yeah, they got her under fire right now because they dropped the charges against Jussie Smollett. But a lot of people just wanted him to suffer because of what he said, and they were emotionally attacking. They were emotionally upset about that. Oh, I want him to hang. Give him 70 years in prison. Spirit wasn't gonna let. No, they went in a little bit too. Prosecutor Kim Foxx defense decision in Jussie Smollett case caused police backlash disheartening. So a lot of people are angry at the police, but the police, they are underneath the guise of the spirits. I told y'all that the police and the judge does not control that courtroom. It is the spirits that control the courtroom. It is. Okay, it is the spirits that are controlling that courtroom. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I say to people, when people come to me for any kind of case, there's a debt that you need to pay off to the spirits. And yeah, you can absolutely pay that debt off to me. Absolutely. So you don't have to say, oh, Jamila, I've got a couple of $1,000 and a newborn baby to sacrifice. No, just give me the couple of $1,000 and you can keep your baby and take care of your baby. Okay? You don't have to sacrifice nobody. I'm telling y'all, the money is enough. When you sacrifice that money, that's you paying off the spiritual debt. And some people have higher spiritual debts to pay than others. But when you pay off that spiritual debt, you good. I can't really talk about that too much, but it's the truth. Because nobody has control over your life except for God and your spirits. Who's pulling the strings? It was Jussie Smollett's spirits. It was his spirits that did that. Thank you, B.R. Dolly. Thank you. Yeah. I don't think that's right either because, you know, she could have killed somebody doing that. She could have. I believe that's how Kanika Jenkins died. I think they gave her a date rape drug. And by the time they got to her body and they found her, it already came out of her system, which you would have thought that it would have been preserved. But when you've been given a date rape drug or something, your body does metabolize it, but it may not have mixed well with the other medications that she was taking. And then also I could see her being spiritually attacked. She was definitely on some kind of drug. And so people have really got to put down the date rape drugs. They really have got to put down the date rape drugs. So, you know, that's kind of why the same thing that Oprah said about Mike, you know, with the whole Bill Cosby situation, you know, the whole thing with supposedly drugging people and then having your way with them. That is absolutely the most repugnant thing ever. So a lot of the backlash that Cardi B is getting, you know, the only thing she can do is just, you know, ask for forgiveness and say, hey, that was, you know, and that's pretty much what she can do. That's what she did. That's all she could do. And I don't think she's been dropped from any of her deals either. So a lot of people will assume, oh, well, it's just because she was doing that to Black people. But you don't know who she was doing that to. And I'm not saying that it was right for her to do that to anybody. Because I don't believe in doing stuff like that. You do not drug people. That's horrible. That's horrible. You can literally screw up somebody's whole life doing stuff like that. You know, they may not ever recover. You can give somebody a date rape drug and they have a seizure and go into a coma or some stuff like that. You don't know what you're giving to people, so don't do that to people. Mm-hmm. So, you know, people get outraged about certain stuff, and that's because they don't understand what spirit is doing. Okay. And they were trying to indict him on like 40 charges. That was too much. So the spirit probably saw it as all a setup anyway. It was all a setup anyway. You know, he had to have been under some kind of duress or under some kind of, they may have saw it as that. I haven't done a reading on the Jussie Smollett case, but I can tell you that they definitely did. His spirits came through. Okay. And that's just the way that it is, because some of these people, well, they'll be facing 10, 20 years in prison. And, you know, they'll only go in and do about 3 years or even get time served. That's just the way spirit wanted it to happen, you know. Have y'all ever saw that movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose? I love scary movies. But y'all remember they found the father guilty of murder, but the jury said we'd like to recommend his sentences being time served. And so they let him go. Just the way the spirit works, you know. So you can make jokes if you want. I think people that make jokes about stuff, some of this stuff ain't no joke though. But I think if you can laugh at it later, then that's actually good for the soul, especially if ain't nobody hurt. Now, obviously, with those women that threw them that drove them babies off of that cliff, like Thelma and Louise, obviously that's gonna drive a nail through somebody's heart chakra. And so nobody's gonna ever laugh about something like that. You know what I'm saying? No, that ain't. I would never laugh about no stuff like that. That's horrible. You know what I'm saying? But something like that, absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, who did Jussie Smollett actually hurt? He didn't really hurt anybody. Was anybody hurt? No. So it wasn't a need for that to lock him up for 40 or 50 years. That wouldn't have been justice. The fact that the charges got dropped, that was how the spirits saw the justice is happening. The Chicago police have way more stuff to worry about. Now they probably gonna put him under their radar. They probably gonna be watching him, maybe. you know oh yeah, no, we don't want to talk about no dead people, but dead kids definitely. But we don't joke about stuff like that, man. I have too much respect for the dead. I do. I have way too much respect for the dead because I know that they are here and that they walk amongst us all the time. you know and it's not anything where you have to get freaked out about it, unless you're actually seeing them. If you're able to see them, then that means that you have an ESP, an extrasensory perception. Hey Chaz, hello. I'm doing good. I am doing good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, they already know. Don't be coming up in here talking about no kids. No, no, no. They already know that. Our adult people, I don't really like to see people talk bad about anybody. That's something that I'm gonna really, really, it just brings negative. It's just anytime you see somebody talking negatively about somebody, it's a negative spirit that you're dealing with. So for me, I try to counteract that with something positive. And keep yourself on a higher vibration, and you'll be fine. If you go down low and you lower your frequencies and you allow other people to pull you into that negativity, when you know that all it does is it leads you to, you got to go through the whole process over and over again to continue to banish those negative spirits, when you can just not let them in at all and get to that point. you know so that's just the reality of it. What's up, Miss L Returns? Hello. You feeling better today? Anyway, you guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I have enjoyed this discussion. I hope that I was able to bring some people some peace. Okay, my question: where did respect for the dead originate? Was it a religious thing, or that's been since the dawn of time? There have been people that was very fickle about the dead, and they didn't speak ill of them, no matter what they were during their living life. You're not supposed to do that. So it's been around since the dawn of time. Because I've actually heard that sometimes when you speaking ill on the dead, they can pull you into that grave. Okay, they can pull you into the grave with them. You asked for confirmation on Nipsey, and there was tapping each time. Butterflies, a running lizard out of nowhere. Yeah. Yeah, when you ask the spirits for signs, they will send them to you. They will. I'm doing good, Miss L. I'm doing good. 3 halos in the sky, a heart, and angel wings, like my. Yeah. Did you just say Cleo, Samantha? And Samantha, is that Cleo or Sael? Oh, did she? I didn't even know. Like, you keep saying that. I didn't even know that your mother watched me. Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, that's been from the beginning, and then there's been people that just, they'll piss on your grave. And I'm glad that I don't have that in my heart to have that kind of evil, you know. Cool, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for a lot of the Nipsey readings that are going up. More than likely, we all possibly will find the same thing. If not, some people will have different details and some people will have, so I'm kind of in a place where I'm going through this transition, but I did pick up on Nipsey because all of a sudden I started having a headache. I don't ever get headaches, ever. I never get headaches. And it was almost like, his spirit definitely is coming in and out. It definitely is. But, it wasn't the right time to do it for me, you know. Oh, did I make her laugh? I hope it wasn't when I was roasting people. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm sure you and your mom are both very beautiful too, Miss L. I didn't understand, maybe due to my feelings about the ones I knew that passed. Yeah. Yeah. I like a few days before, like probably like a day before I had found out that he had gotten shot in the head, like I felt kind of like a little bit of a headache. I don't know if any other medium felt that. And it kind of came and go for like a week. It came and it went, kicked in the head. Oh, see that guy that did that? Is that the one that they called? Excuse me, y'all. See, I think that's got something to do with the spirits when I do that. Because all of a sudden I felt like that, because that kind of made me, yeah, I heard about that. And see that guy, whoever that was that kicked him in the head, I'm gonna do a reading on it. That's not good, man. You kill the man and then you kick him. See, that's because nobody's taught any different. We don't teach our kids spiritual survival. And I bet you that guy, it could not possibly be doing good right now after he did that. You done already took the man away from his family, his loved ones, his girlfriend, and then you're going to desecrate. That's called desecrating somebody's corpse. That's called desecrating their body. So it's, oh man. That's awful. That's horrible to do that to somebody. You story said you felt pressure and swelling. I did too. I did. I had to lay down. I felt ill after that happened. And it was pressure in my head and stuff. And then my allergies were just off the chain. And then right after that, the freaking pollen count went off the Richter scale. It was like at fourth. Remember I showed y'all when the pollen count was at 4,666. I was like, what the heck? And that was a couple of days after he had passed on. That was a couple of days after he had been murdered, not passed on, but yeah. But see, people that are like that, please believe that they're gonna have to deal with it. And I can only imagine where didn't they catch that guy though? Mm-hmm. And just shooting somebody, boy, that make you a real coward just to shoot somebody. Yeah, that is evil. That is evil. And you got to be a sick person, because I can imagine that if somebody's shot in the head, that there's going to be brain matter out, and you just go and kick their one I'm gonna tell you something, and I think that a lot of people are gonna find out that he is gonna get revenge on them. He is. I can sense it. And your spirits can be very vengeful. Spirits can be very, very vengeful. Now the girl they killed in retaliation, was she the driver or just his girlfriend? Oh Lord, they done killed somebody else. But oh my God. Who is that you talking about, Smarty Girl? He pled innocent. Yeah. Who are you talking about, Smarty Girl? You talking about, oh Lord. Okay, you're talking about somebody else. Okay. Okay, Chris Darden. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. That's just a mess. That's just a mess. What? She loved my sense of humor. That's cool. Oh, okay. Good grief. You talking about the one that kicked him in the head? They killed her to reach. Woo, Lord have mercy. See, that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to do a reading, because I don't want to be messing around with that man, because I did a read on that one person, and I'm not even going to speak her name because they got some very, very heavy magic around that. And I don't interfere with another witch's work. I don't, sometimes you can't do that because, especially when you, especially when you solitary, you just kind of like, yeah, I'm just, you know. Mm, She was the same one who was threatening Cardi about going to California. Who is this woman? And so they killed her. So she's gone but see her spirit. I'm telling y'all, when you kill the bad guy, you also have, it's certain things that you have to do with the body to consecrate the body. And you also have to ask whatever, that's what funerals are supposed to be. The funeral is supposed to be a safe passage. And then also the pastor is supposed to be, they're supposed to maintain those negative spirits. They're supposed to consecrate that body and those spirits, but a lot of them, they do exorcisms in a room full of people. So need I say more about the church? My whole thing about it is that, why are you doing exorcisms on people right in front of everybody else, and you're not even protected within a salt circle, and you're doing an exorcism? So what happens is that they do an exorcism, and then the spirit just goes and gets somebody in the first, second, third aisle of the church. That's all that happens, is they just transfer the spirit to somebody else. So they don't understand that just because a bad person dies, that doesn't mean that their spirit is not still roaming. Okay. So her body is gone, but her spirit is probably still there, depending on who buried her. Exactly, Story. They don't. They're told to not even acknowledge the spirits. That's very dangerous, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but that's very dangerous, because I know I done had plenty of conversations with these nasty spirits sometimes, and I'll just say, just leave this person alone. Why you keep bothering this person? Release your hold that you got. I'll say stuff like that. That's what you're doing. Whenever I do a hex breaker or a spell breaker, I am breaking you away from a negative spirit. That's what I do. So you can't just, no, because that is just an infection that just keeps getting spread to other people. They need to have more authentic high priestesses that know about how to deal with the dead over these funeral homes and stuff like that. And then also, if it's because a lot of funerals, I've seen a lot of funerals and wakes in churches and stuff. Oh, absolutely, free spirit. Yeah, I can definitely tell if somebody's doing witchcraft on somebody. I even can see that during general readings. If witchcraft is playing out in your life big time, if you have a practitioner that's like doing work on you, yeah, absolutely, I can see that. And a lot of times it'll be people that you wouldn't even never expect. Seeing that makes my whole body vibrate, chills, truth bumps intensely. Yeah. They need to remove footage of his wife running in the hospital. She don't want to see that. She probably got PTSD now and can trigger her. People do not care and say, then why are you looking in here? You're right about that, Sag 30. You talking about Lauren London when she went to the hospital, and yeah. But you got to have somebody there. I think that instead of discounting people like me, we can actually assist the church because they do need assistance. They do. They need a professional to go in there and clean all that stuff out of the church so that, God will even think about coming in there because, that there was special instructions that we were left by the spirits that we've been practicing for billions of years. I don't believe that the earth has only been here for 1,000 years. I believe that we've been here billions of years. So I don't believe in that the earth is only like thousands of years old. Get out of here. Never. This earth is older than time. Hello. Thank you, Sarah. I had 2 ghost stalkers. One was evil. My sister paid for a reading from her psychic. Oh. Yeah, sometimes when you're dealing with a psychic, a lot of times it depends on if the spirit is read. There's always several spirits, like even up to 100 spirits that can be around you at once. And if it's a badass one, I'll let you know, hey, you got something right here that you need to clear out of your you need to get rid of that because that's the problem. That's the missing element and the issue that you're having. Can you tell what they're using? I'd have to do a full reading on you and tap into their rituals because sometimes the ritual happens at church on a Sunday. So it can either be done at somebody's altar, and a lot of the rituals are happening at church. Believe it or not. People can go to church and they can ask God and they can use all that energy when people hollering and hooping and hollering and they get the Holy Ghost. That Holy Ghost is scary as hell. I don't want the Holy Ghost. I don't. No, thank you. That Holy Ghost don't feel very holy to me. I'm just telling y'all what I feel, and a lot of people don't like that, but I've been telling the truth about that for the longest. Because, Christians are into sacrifice. Boy, oh my God, these people, boy. You ever look in the Bible and see some of the stuff that it says with, the God of the Bible saying, burn this human being and burn some dung and, offer me some burnt offerings and stuff. So, that I ain't even going to talk about that. Oh, Lord, I should have talked about it yesterday, but it's a sector of religion, and it's only one aspect of religion. Many different religions believe many different things, and there's many different cultures that believe things that are different. She said, go into the light. Sometimes it ain't no light, but you know, going into the light, yeah, that's what we see in the movies, but it's sometimes you got to direct people a little bit better than that. You know, go and leave these people alone. That's just, you know, you leave these people alone. You know, you're burdening these people, okay? The Grim Reaper. Mm, Grim Reaper, the angel of death. This is somebody that helps you transition through death, but there's many, many reapers. So the Grim Reaper was thought of because now Anubis, I don't know much about Anubis, but I can definitely tell you that the Grim Reaper is like the angel of death. And this is an angel that's going to be present among those that might be sick and dying. And this is an angel that helps to transition. This is an angel that you can't see to the naked eye. Some people can see the angel of death, though. Some people, depends on how strong your spiritual gifts are, you know. And then cameras can even pick up certain angels and stuff. But the Grim Reaper, the whole concept of that, and there's more than one Grim Reaper. There's you know, that those are personal to you. And so this is a spirit that's going to help you transition from your physical body into, you know, out of your physical body. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to, you know, be like a guide for you. That's how I see the Grim Reaper. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but it's possibly a lot deeper than that, but, you know, in a nutshell. Okay. In a nutshell is basically what the Grim Reaper is about. You think the light is a trap? Follow your intuition. Smarty girl said the light is a trap. Probably. You saw huge clouds. I guess it would have to depend on who the Grim Reaper is coming for. Because if it's a Reaper that's coming for maybe somebody that died in a violent way, or maybe somebody that not a violent way, but maybe they died a bad person, then maybe the experience would be different. I believe that we create that experience, honestly. So however you feel is going to happen when you die, then that's more than likely what's going to happen. I have a very, very strong connection to the fairy realm. I know a lot of people are like, what? So when I die, that's where I feel like I'm going. And it's very beautiful in the realm of the fae. It ain't nothing but grass and water and stars and you know, it's very similar to Earth, but it doesn't have all this stuff on it, you know. Now, as far as Anubis, Anubis is the god of embalming the dead. Okay, thank you, smarty girl. I will need to do more research on that. I haven't really gotten into, you know, Egyptology like that, you know. Um, but I think that there's different versions of this depending on what culture you come from. And then some people that come from a very, very dark culture, there's probably going to be hellfire and brimstone for them because that's where they see themselves, you know. I believe that your death experience depends on you. That's what I believe in. Okay. You said, no, this person notorious for evil, for all the bad things he did to kids. Okay. And, you know, he felt that. He felt that, whoever that was. And so that's why his death experience is going to be different from someone else's death experience. But then again, when you sign these deals and these contracts, you never know what you sign in. You know, spirits of the dead, they get lost because they don't really, that's just like a person that's able to control their dreams. You know, some people may not have that particular mindset, or it may be a very scary experience for them being dead, because they just don't know what to do or where to go, you know. So if you do have an angel of death, then you're probably very lucky, because it will help you to transition. So Anubis seems to be the same thing, which if somebody is embalming the dead, then that would mean some sort of preservation ritual to preserve the body or to consecrate it. So that must be the role that Anubis plays, is consecrating the dead bodies, because that's what it is when you're doing that kind of work, you know. Because you definitely can't kick a dead person in the head. No, you don't do that. You don't do that to people, because you don't want that done to you. You know, that's just very sad. What types of cards shows up when they're doing spells? Because I want to know for myself. The magician, the hierophant, the high priestess. Anytime the high priestess, the moon, the five of pentacles is a big one. Five of pentacles, if you get at least two or three of them fives that show up, that means that, to me, the way I see it is that there's some sort of hex that's playing out, that's manifesting. So the moon can represent witchcraft. It can represent glamour, somebody using glamour magic, somebody trying to have a negative influence over your life. The magician comes up, represents somebody just puppeteering you. The high priestess, absolutely, especially when the high priestess is in the reverse position. You know, that means that somebody's working against you behind your back. But let me tell you guys something. I always tell people, it depends on the level of knowledge with that practitioner. If that practitioner is able to conjure something particularly menacing, then it just depends. Okay? Can they feel being cremated? No, they can't necessarily feel it. They can witness it. See, fire is purifying. So that fire purifies. Okay, just like water, but we can't just throw dead bodies in the ocean. Even though they used to do that, they just throw it in the ocean, and then people got sick, and then the ocean got sick as well. So, you know, no, if and some of these people need to be cremated and then even decapitated. Okay, now it just depends on what the spirit was doing, because I remember I used to do that in one of my lifetimes. And I remember, if it was somebody that was just particularly evil, we separated the head from the body. That, I know that sounds weird, but yeah, because sometimes everything that's coming from, and when you burn it, you purify it. So You know, I used to think that cremation was cruel, but then I started to realize that it wasn't. It's actually very cleansing. And a lot of people like to be embalmed because they feel like, well, you know, what if I'm not really dead? And what if I just can get up and crawl out of the grave and stuff? And, you know, at that point, when you're already gone, your body doesn't really mean much, except to the people that are your loved ones, because there's been people that have stuffed their loved ones. You know, they used to do that back in the day. But I think that from the spiritual culture that I originated from, which is very pagan, if you want to label it in any as anything, it would be pagan. And I know for a fact that a lot of the pagans, they would cremate the body. And it's not just of evil people. You know, that's just like when they burn witches, you know. You know, as a witch, I practice the craft. And so, you know, that's actually very cleansing and purifying. So that's why I prefer that. And then plus I don't want nobody crying over my dead body. And I don't want to be a burden on my family, because being cremated, it's more cost efficient and it just makes more sense to me. And then my children can keep my ashes. Sprinkle me in the ocean a little bit, but if you want to keep my remains, go ahead. So yeah, what type can you use to stop them? Well, there's a lot of different ways, but a hex is something that you have to break. A curse is something that you have to break like a rubber band, because what it does is it will just stretch and stretch and stretch. It'd be like a big old rubber band, and you just have to break it. So hexes have to be broken. And the same thing when it comes to generational hexes. These are hexes that keep repeating over and over again. So this is one of the reasons why, you know, there's people, especially if you have, you know, welfare generationally in your family, you want to break the cycle by not doing that with the next generation that you have that comes into this world. You know what I'm saying? And so when you can do that, that's when you know that the hex has been broken, because some of y'all was put on under the hex of poverty, which made no sense, because it was all about competition. Who has more? Who has less? And at some point as a society, we're going to have to get out of that. You know, we're going to have to get out of that as a society. My mother is a goddess, always with me. She's my guide. I created some cards for spirit to, oh, nice. I trust them, especially when I meditate deep and burn herbs, always on point. Yep. And then speaking of that, I need to get me some charcoals, because, you know, I burn herbs as well. And those are really, some of them just smell so good. I put together an herbal mix, and it's got vervain, chamomile, dragon's blood, copal, and lavender. And it, you know, when you burn that in your house, it will definitely clear out those psychic vampiric spirits. But vampires are not necessarily the biggest threat anymore. They're not necessarily the biggest threat. There's other threats out there. One of the biggest threats is ignorance. You know, one of the biggest threats is people in their ignorance, and then fear. Fear is a big threat to the human race. It's a big threat, you know. So anyway, guys, I hope that you guys have a happy moon day. I'm going to go. Hello, Daphne. Hello. I'm going to wrap this up. I wish I could stay here longer, but I got to go to the bathroom and I got to go and do some other stuff in the bathroom. You are very welcome. Very welcome. Love, light, and blessings to you guys. And I will see y'all next time. Okay. Bye.